The arena was built from black stone that absorbed light. It stretched wide enough to hold 1,000 spectators, and today every seat was filled. Beings from 17 different species sat in raised platforms around the circular fighting ground. They had come from every corner of the galaxy to watch this moment. The moment when humanity would fail. Commander Lyra Chen stood alone in the center of the arena. She was 34 years old, with short black hair and eyes that had seen too many battles. Her uniform was simple gray fabric. She carried no weapons. Around her, the alien observers whispered to each other in languages she could not understand. She understood their tone well enough. They were laughing at her. The Galactic Concord had existed for 12,000 years. It was an alliance of species that had mastered space travel, built empires across star systems, and developed technologies that seemed like magic to younger races. Humanity had only discovered faster-than-light travel 60 years ago. They were children in a room full of ancient giants. To join the Concord, every species had to prove their worth. They had to show they possessed something valuable, something that made them useful to the Alliance. The Kreth had their natural armor, thick plates of bone that could stop plasma fire. The Silthine had their venom, capable of killing any organic being in seconds. The Mindori could link their minds together and think as one. Humanity had none of these things. The Concord scientists had studied humans for decades. Their conclusion was simple and cruel. Humans were weak. Humans were slow. Humans were fragile. Their only notable trait was their strange persistence, their refusal to accept defeat even when defeat was obvious. The scientists called it stubbornness. They did not consider it valuable. So the Concord had designed a test. If humanity could pass, they would be granted membership. If they failed, they would be sent back to their small corner of the galaxy, forgotten. The test was combat. Lyra watched as the Velthari trainer entered the arena from the opposite side. He was 7 feet tall and built from what looked like shifting plates of black glass. His body had no fixed form. The plates moved and rearranged themselves as he walked, creating new configurations with every step. He had 3 arms today. Yesterday, he might have had 4. His species could reshape themselves at will. The trainer had never lost a fight in 300 years. He had tested candidates from 47 species. Every single one had failed. He stopped 10 meters from Lyra and studied her with eyes that glowed pale blue. "You are small," he said. His voice was like stones grinding together, even for a human. "Size is not everything," Lyra replied. The trainer made a sound that might have been laughter. "In combat, size is nearly everything. Speed is the rest. You have neither." Lyra said nothing. She was watching how he moved, how his plates shifted. She was looking for patterns. A Kreth ambassador leaned forward in his seat. His armored body creaked with emotion. "Let us finish this quickly," he called out. "I have matters to attend to, real matters." The other observers made sounds of agreement. They had not come to watch a fair fight. They had come to watch a slaughter. The trainer gestured toward the walls of the arena. Weapons hung there in neat rows. Plasma blades that could cut through ship hulls. Neural disruptors that could shut down a nervous system with a single touch. Kinetic hammers that could crush stone. They were beautiful and deadly, designed for warriors with reflexes 10 times faster than any human possessed. "Select your weapon," the trainer said. "You are permitted any tool from the wall." Lyra looked at the weapons. She had trained with similar devices back on Earth. She knew their weight, their reach, their limitations. She also knew the truth that no one in this arena wanted to admit. None of those weapons would help her. The trainer was too fast, too experienced, too powerful. If she picked up a blade, she would be dead in seconds. If she chose a hammer, she would be dead even faster. The weapons were not an opportunity. They were a trap. "I decline," she said. The arena fell silent. The whispers stopped. Even the trainer's shifting plates went still. "You decline," he repeated. "I will face you unarmed." The Kreth ambassador stood up so quickly his seat cracked beneath him. "This is an insult. She mocks the test. She mocks all of us." "Let her speak," said a quiet voice. It came from the Mindori section. The speaker was a thin being with pale skin and large, dark eyes. The Mindori were telepaths. They could read thoughts and emotions. This one was staring at Lyra with an expression that was hard to read. The trainer turned back to Lyra. "Explain yourself, human. Why would you refuse a weapon against an opponent who has killed champions from a dozen worlds?" Lyra met his glowing eyes without fear. "Because the weapons are not the test. They never were. You wanted to see what humanity could offer the conquered. What makes us valuable? What makes us different?" She spread her empty hands. "Weapons would hide what I came here to show you." The trainer was silent for a long moment. Then his plates shifted into a new configuration, something that looked almost like respect. "You are either very brave or very foolish," he said. "My people have never been good at telling the difference." The trainer raised his 3 arms. His plates sharpened into edges that could cut through metal. "Then let us begin, Commander Chen. Show me what humanity actually is." Lyra took a deep breath. She felt her heart beating fast in her chest. She felt the fear that every human felt before violence. But beneath the fear, something else was waking up. Something old. Something that had kept her ancestors alive on a planet that had tried to kill them for 200,000 years. She did not know if she would survive this fight. She did not know if she would win. But she knew with absolute certainty that she would not stop. "Come," she said to the trainer, "I am ready." He came. The trainer moved like darkness given form. One moment he was standing still. The next moment his arm was already connecting with Lyra's shoulder. She did not see the blow coming. She only felt it. The impact lifted her off her feet and threw her 3 meters across the arena floor. She hit the black stone hard enough to drive the air from her lungs. Pain exploded through her shoulder and down her spine. For a moment, she could not breathe. For a moment, she could not think. The observers made sounds of satisfaction. This was what they had expected. This was what they had come to see. "Stay down, human," the trainer said. He had not moved from his spot. He had not needed to. "Your body is not built for this. Accept defeat and you may leave with your life." Lyra's hands pressed against the cold stone. Her shoulder was screaming at her. Something was wrong inside it. Something was broken or torn. Her body was telling her to stop, to surrender, to curl up and protect herself from further damage. She stood up anyway. The Kreth ambassador made a noise of confusion. "What is she doing? She cannot continue. Look at her arm." Lyra's left arm hung at a bad angle. She could not lift it. She did not try. She simply turned to face the trainer again and raised her right hand in a fighting stance. "Is that all you have?" she asked. The trainer's plates shifted. He was recalculating, adjusting his assessment. "You can still feel pain. I can see it in your face. Why do you continue?" "Because pain is not the same as defeat." He struck again. This time he aimed for her ribs. His arm moved too fast for her eyes to track. She tried to twist away, but she was far too slow. The blow caught her on the right side and she heard something crack inside her chest. She fell again. The pain was worse now. It was hard to breathe. Each breath felt like a knife sliding between her ribs. The Mindori delegate leaned forward in her seat. Her large, dark eyes were fixed on Lyra's crumpled form. She was sensing something, reaching out with her telepathic abilities to touch the human's mind. What she found there made her go very still. "She is not surrendering," the Mindori whispered. "Her thoughts are not turning toward escape. They are turning toward. She could not find the right word. On the arena floor, Lyra was getting up again. It took longer this time. She had to use her one good arm to push herself to her knees, then to her feet. Blood dripped from her lip where she had bitten it during the fall. "Interesting," the trainer said. He struck her leg. She went down, she got up. He struck her other shoulder. She went down. She got up. He hit her in the stomach and she doubled over, gasping, but she did not fall. She stayed on her feet through pure will. "Your species confuses me," the trainer said. You must know you cannot win. Your bones are breaking. Your organs are bruising. Each blow brings you closer to death, and yet you continue. Lyra spat blood onto the black stone. Her vision was blurring at the edges. Her body was filled with fire. My species has a saying, what does not kill you makes you stronger. That is not logical. Damage makes organisms weaker, not stronger. You would think so, would you not? The trainer paused. For the first time in many years, he was uncertain. He had fought beings much larger than this human. He had defeated warriors with centuries of training. None of them had confused him like this small, broken woman who refused to stay down. In the observation platform, something was changing. The mockery had stopped. The observers were leaning forward now, watching with new intensity. Even the Kreth ambassador had fallen silent. The Mindori delegate suddenly stood up. Her telepathic voice echoed through the minds of everyone present. Something is happening to her. Her cellular structure is changing. I can feel it. The trainer turned his glowing eyes toward her. Explain. Her body is releasing chemicals, many chemicals all at once. Her cells are communicating with each other at speeds I have never seen. They are adapting. Adapting to what? To the damage, to the pain, to you. Lyra smiled through the blood on her teeth. She could feel it too. The change, the shift. Her ancestors had a name for it. They called it the survival instinct. But that name was too simple. It did not capture what was really happening inside her. Her body was not giving up. Her body was waking up. The pain was still there, but it felt different now. Distant. Her mind was becoming clear in a way it had not been before. She could see the trainer more sharply. She could predict how his plates would shift before they moved. Her broken bones still hurt, but the hurt was no longer important. The hurt was just information. Hit me again, she said. The trainer hesitated. In 300 years, no one had ever asked him to continue hurting them. You are dying, he said. Your injuries are severe. If I continue, you will not survive. Then I will die standing. Hit me again. He hit her again. She fell. The world went dark for a moment. When she opened her eyes, she was lying on the cold stone, staring up at the high ceiling of the arena. Her body was screaming at her. Every nerve was on fire. Every muscle was torn. Every bone was cracked. And then something clicked. Deep inside her cells, in the ancient parts of her DNA that remembered being hunted by predators on a hostile world, something activated. Something that the galaxy had never seen. Something that should not have been possible. Lyra Chin got up again, but this time she got up fast. The trainer stepped back. What? Lyra looked at her hands. They were shaking, but not from fear. They were shaking from power. From something her body was producing in quantities that would have killed any other species. I told you, she said, and her voice was steady now, strong. What does not kill us makes us stronger. Your scientists should have taken that literally. She raised her fists. Now shall we continue? The trainer attacked with full force. He was done testing. He was done measuring. This human had shown him something that made no sense, and he needed to understand it. His arm shot forward like a spear, aimed at her chest. It was a killing blow. It had ended 46 candidates before her. Lyra moved. She did not dodge. Dodging required thought, required planning, required time she did not have. Instead, something deeper took over. Something that lived in her muscles and bones and blood. Her body twisted sideways before her mind could give the command. The trainer's arm passed through empty air. The observers gasped. A Silthine representative hissed in shock. She moved. She actually moved. That is not possible, the Kreth ambassador said. Human reflexes are among the slowest in the conquered. We have measured them. They cannot. But Lyra was still moving. The trainer struck again and again, each blow faster than the last. She should have died a dozen times. Instead, she slipped between his attacks like water flowing around stones. She was not faster than him. She never would be. But she was beginning to see his patterns. Her brain was processing data at speeds it had never reached before. The trainer stopped attacking. He stood still, his plates shifting in agitation. "What are you?" he demanded. Lyra was breathing hard. Her body was burning through energy at a rate that would leave her exhausted in minutes. But she had minutes. That was enough. "I am human," she said. "This is what we become when you push us far enough. This is not natural. No species evolves this way." "You are wrong. We evolved on a planet that wanted us dead. Everything on our world was trying to kill us. The weather, the animals, the diseases, even each other." She circled him slowly, watching for openings. "We had no armor, no venom, no telepathy. We had only one advantage." "What advantage?" "We refused to die." The trainer lunged at her. She ducked under his first arm, spun away from his second, and drove her fist into a gap between his plates. It was not a powerful blow. Her muscles were still human muscles, weak and limited, but she had found a nerve cluster, a sensitive point. The trainer made a sound of pain. It was small, barely audible, but it echoed through the arena like thunder. In 300 years, he had never made that sound. The Mindori delegate was on her feet, broadcasting to everyone. Her telepathic voice was filled with wonder and fear. "I understand now. I can see what her cells are doing. She is producing chemicals, adrenaline, cortisol, endorphins, dozens of others with no names in our databases. They are flooding her system." "Those chemicals are present in many species," the Silthine representative said. "They are stress hormones, fight or flight responses, nothing special." "No, you do not understand. Other species produce these chemicals in small amounts. They help with survival. They give a brief burst of strength or speed and then they fade." The Mindori's voice dropped to a whisper. "Humans produce them without limit. Their bodies have no off switch. They just keep producing more and more until—" "Until what?" "Until they win or die. There is no middle option." On the arena floor, Lyra pressed her attack. She was not strong enough to hurt the trainer badly. She knew this. But she was learning. Every time she hit him, she found new information. Every time he hit her, she added to her understanding of how he moved. Her brain was building a model of her enemy in real time. The trainer backed away. He was no longer confident. "This is madness. Your body is destroying itself. I can see the damage accumulating. Your heart is beating too fast. Your muscles are tearing under the strain. You cannot sustain this." "I do not need to sustain it," Lyra said. "I only need it to last longer than you." She threw herself at him. He caught her with his third arm and hurled her across the arena. She hit the wall hard enough to crack the stone. She fell to the ground in a heap of broken limbs. The observers held their breath. Surely this time she would stay down. Surely this time it was over. Lyra's fingers scraped against the floor. Her vision was red at the edges. Her body was screaming at her to stop, to rest, to survive. But survival was no longer the priority. Something older had taken control. Something that cared only about victory. She got up. The Kreth ambassador made a strange choking sound. "This is not combat. This is something else. Something terrible." "It is beautiful," the Mindori delegate said softly. "Horrifying and beautiful." Lyra walked back toward the trainer. She was limping badly. Her left arm was useless. Blood ran down her face from a cut on her forehead, but her eyes were clear and focused. "You have studied humans for 60 years, she said. "You have measured our speed, our strength, our reflexes. You concluded that we were weak, inferior, useless." "The data supported that conclusion," the trainer said. "The data was incomplete. You measured us at rest. You measured us in controlled conditions. You never measured us at our limit." She stopped a few meters from him. "We do not have a limit. That is what makes us dangerous." "Every species has a limit." "Not us. Humans are the only species in the galaxy that will keep fighting after their bodies have given up. We will keep fighting after our bones are broken, after our blood is gone, after our hearts have stopped. We do not know how to quit. It is written into our cells." The trainer's plates were shifting rapidly now. He was preparing something, A new configuration, a new attack. Then I will find your limit, he said. I will break you until there is nothing left to stand. Lyra smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. It was the smile of something ancient and hungry. Many have tried. They are all dead now. We are still here. The trainer attacked, and Lyra met him in the center of the arena, broken and bleeding and utterly unstoppable. The medical scanners around the arena began flashing red. Warning signals appeared on screens that the technicians had never seen before. The computers were trying to analyze Lyra's biology, and they were failing. The readings make no sense, a Silthine technician hissed. Her body temperature is 3 degrees above what should be fatal for her species. Her heart rate is 200 beats per minute. Her muscle fibers are tearing and repairing simultaneously. This should not be possible. In the center of the arena, Lyra and the trainer fought like two storms colliding. He was faster, he was stronger, he had centuries of experience, but she would not fall. Every time he knocked her down, she rose. Every time he broke something inside her, she kept moving. And she was getting better. The trainer noticed it first. His attacks were landing, but she was taking less damage from each one. She was learning to absorb the impacts, to roll with the blows, to turn killing strikes into painful but survivable hits. Her body was teaching itself in real time. Your cells, he said between strikes. They are communicating differently now. I can hear them. Billions of signals per second. What are they doing? Lyra blocked one of his arms with her forearm. Bone ground against plate. She should have screamed. Instead, she used the contact to feel his weight, his balance, his next movement. They are taking notes, she said. Notes. Every time you hit me, they learn. Every impact, every angle, every amount of force. They are building a picture of you, how you move, how you think, where you are weak. I have no weaknesses. Lyra ducked under his swing and drove her knee into the joint where his leg met his body. It was a place she had not targeted before, a place she had only discovered in the last 30 seconds. The trainer stumbled. Everyone has weaknesses, she said. You have just never fought anyone who survived long enough to find yours. The observers were on their feet now. They had forgotten their dignity, their protocols, their contempt. They were watching something that had never happened before in the history of the Galactic Concord. The Mindori delegate was trembling. Her telepathic abilities let her feel what was happening inside Lyra's body, and it was overwhelming. The human's pain receptors had not shut down. They were still firing, still sending agony to her brain, but her brain had changed how it processed that information. She is not ignoring the pain, the Mindori broadcast. She is using it, converting it into tactical data. Every wound tells her something about the enemy. She feels the angle of each blow, the strength behind it, the direction of the force. Her suffering is becoming her strategy. The Kreth ambassador's armored face was unreadable, but his voice was shaking. This is obscene. This is against nature. No, the Mindori said. This is nature. This is what nature creates when a species must survive the unsurvivable. In the arena, Lyra pressed forward. Her left arm was hanging loose at her side. 3 of her ribs were broken. She was bleeding from a dozen places, but her movements were precise now, efficient. She was no longer wasting energy on attacks that would not land. The trainer tried a new approach. He changed his configuration, adding a 4th arm, reshaping his body to present no openings. It was a form he had used to defeat the champion of the Veth worlds, a warrior with 400 years of training. Lyra studied him for 2 seconds, then she attacked. Her first blow hit nothing. Her second was blocked, but her third found a gap that had not existed a moment before, a gap that appeared only when he moved his arms in a certain pattern, a gap she had predicted. The trainer staggered back. How? Your new form has a flaw. When you block with your upper arms, your lower body becomes exposed for a fraction of a second. It is a small window, but I only need a small window. I have used this form for decades. No one has ever seen that flaw. No one has ever fought you for this long." She hit him again, finding the same gap. And again. Each blow was small. Each blow did little damage, but they were adding up, and the trainer was beginning to understand something terrible. He could not win by endurance. Humans did not stop. Their bodies would literally destroy themselves before they surrendered. He had to end this quickly, or not at all. He made a decision. His plates shifted one final time. They became sharper, harder, faster. He was abandoning defense entirely. Everything he had was going into attack. If he could not outlast her, he would obliterate her. "Forgive me," he said. It was the first time he had ever apologized to an opponent. "But I cannot allow you to continue. What you represent is too dangerous." Lyra watched him transform into something built purely for killing. She should have been afraid. She should have tried to escape. Instead, she felt a strange calm settle over her. "You are right to be afraid," she said. "We are dangerous. We have always been dangerous. We killed everything on our planet that tried to stop us. The great cats, the bears, the wolves, the other humans who stood in our way. We are the survivors of 10,000 generations of violence." The trainer launched himself at her. He was faster now than he had ever been. His arms were blades that could cut through starship armor. Lyra did not run. She watched him come, and in that final moment before impact, she saw everything. Every plate, every angle, every path his arms would take. And she saw the one place where he was vulnerable. A single point beneath his central plate, where all his neural signals converged. The one spot that could end him instantly, hidden for 300 years. She had found it. Now she just had to reach it before he killed her. Time slowed down. Lyra's brain was processing information at speeds that would have burned out any normal human mind. She could see the trainer's arms descending toward her, each one capable of cutting her in half. She could see the gaps between them, tiny windows of empty space measured in centimeters. She could also see the path to his weakness. It was not an easy path. It required her to move through a space that was almost too small for her body. It required perfect timing. It required her to accept that some of his blades would hit her. But she had stopped caring about being hit a long time ago. Lyra twisted her body and dove forward. The first blade caught her shoulder, slicing through cloth and skin and muscle. Blood sprayed across the arena floor. She felt the pain, sharp and bright, but her mind was already moving past it. Pain was just data. Pain was just fuel. The second blade passed over her head as she ducked. The third blade cut across her back, leaving a line of fire from her shoulder to her hip. She screamed, but she did not stop. Stopping meant dying. Stopping meant failure. Stopping was not something her cells understood. And then she was inside his guard. The trainer had not expected this. No one had ever survived his final form. No one had ever gotten close enough to touch him when he was configured for maximum lethality. He tried to pull his arms back, to create distance, to protect his vulnerable point. He was too slow. Lyra's fist, her one good fist, connected with the neural cluster beneath his central plate. She put everything into that blow. Every ounce of strength her broken body could produce, every chemical her cells were generating, every memory of her ancestors fighting and dying and refusing to stop. It was not a powerful blow by galactic standards. A Kreth warrior could have hit 10 times harder. A Velthari in full battle mode could have struck 100 times harder. But it was enough. The trainer's glowing eyes flickered. His plates, which had been shifting constantly since the fight began, went still. His arms, raised to kill her, dropped to his sides. He stood there for a long moment, frozen in place. Then he fell. The sound of his body hitting the arena floor echoed through the silence. Every observer was standing. Every eye was fixed on the scene below. No one spoke. No one breathed. Lyra Chen stood over the fallen trainer. She was barely standing herself. Her body was covered in blood, most of it her own. Her left arm hung useless. Her back was cut open. Her ribs were broken. Her heart was beating so fast it hurt. But she was standing, and he was not. The Mindori delegate was the first to speak. Her telepathic voice filled every mind in the arena. He is alive. His neural cluster is stunned, not destroyed. He will recover. Lyra nodded slowly. She had not been trying to kill him. She had been trying to prove a point. 300 years, she said, her voice hoarse. 47 species, not one victory against him, until today. She turned to face the observers. The movement cost her. She felt something tear inside her chest. She ignored it. You wanted to know what humanity offers the galactic conquered. You wanted to know what makes us valuable. Now you know. The Kreth ambassador found his voice. What you have shown is barbarism. Your species turns pain into power. You use your own destruction as a weapon. This is not a gift. This is a curse. It is both, Lyra agreed. But it is also survival. When the next great war comes, and it will come, you will need soldiers who do not know how to quit. You will need warriors who fight harder as they get hurt, not weaker. You will need us. The Silthine representative hissed thoughtfully. She makes a valid point. The Void Swarm destroyed 17 worlds before we stopped them. Imagine facing that threat with soldiers who became more dangerous as they took damage. Imagine, the Mindori delegate added, facing any threat with allies who simply refused to die. The arena fell silent again. The observers looked at each other, considering. They had come here expecting to watch a human fail. Instead, they had watched something new enter the galaxy, something they did not fully understand. Something that frightened them. A medical team rushed onto the arena floor. They surrounded Lyra, scanning her injuries, preparing to treat her. She waved them off with her good hand. Not yet, I need an answer first. She looked up at the council platform, where the leaders of the Galactic Conquered sat in judgment. They were old beings, ancient by any standard, wise in ways she could barely imagine. They had seen civilizations rise and fall. They had made decisions that affected trillions of lives. Now they had to make a decision about one small, stubborn species from a hostile little planet. The eldest council member rose from his seat. He was a being of pure light, formless and eternal, the last survivor of a species that had existed since before the stars were born. Commander Chen, he said, and his voice was like music made from mathematics. You have passed the test. Humanity is welcomed into the Galactic Conquered. Lyra finally let the medical team approach. She was losing consciousness now, her body finally demanding the rest it had been denied. But before darkness took her, she smiled. We are not brave, she whispered. We are not strong, we are just too stubborn to stop. Behind her, the trainer was beginning to stir. His plates shifted weakly. His glowing eyes opened and focused on the human who had defeated him. What you showed me today, he said, his voice rough. I will not forget it. Good, Lyra said, because we have only just begun. And then she collapsed, and the galaxy changed forever. In the centuries that followed, when wars came and horrors descended from the dark spaces between stars, the conquered learned to send humans first. Not because they were the strongest, not because they were the fastest, not because they had the best weapons or the most advanced technology. They sent humans because humans were the species that looked at certain death and asked a simple question. What if we just refused? What if we fought anyway? What if we won? And somehow, against all logic, against all reason, against all odds, they usually did.